Hey everybody, Gitan Once here, and welcome to number 3 in the series of animation tutorials. If you have not seen the first two, I suggest you go back and watch them. In the last video I did skip over a bunch of tools, not because they were useless, not because they're worthless, just because I personally don't use them as much or don't know what they do. I strongly encourage you to go back and check out whatever tools I skipped over, see what they do. Maybe you will find a great use for them, but me personally, for what I do, I don't really use them. So you're gonna have this blank document of nothing, and you're gonna click either new, or you're gonna have a red window that says what you want to do, and something like this might happen, usually by this. And I'm gonna explain this window. This window right here is the width and height of the pixels, meaning what the size of your stage. The stage is gonna be, well, whatever background color it is. You can change it for white. Usually the standard is white. The frames per second might be something like 12, 16. You change it to whatever. In the last video we discussed that 24 is pretty much the way to go in any animation to make it look as smooth as possible. You can go higher, but I wouldn't recommend it. Just stay with 24. It's fine. Me myself, I use the 1280 by 720 because that's high quality, and when exporting I can do it in 1080p, but it's up to you. Usually it's like something like 950 or 550, something like that. It's something weird. You do whatever. I myself do these settings for my animations, and you just click OK, and boom, that's what you get. Just a square, timeline, properties, tools, and you're good to start. So before we do anything else, that is how you begin your document. Now, a question that a lot of people have, or that a lot of people think of, is I don't have, how do I draw? Using the mouse is hard. Do I need a drawing tablet? Yes and no. Yes, because I strongly recommend it, because it will make everything a lot easier. It will make your workflow a lot faster. However, that doesn't mean you need it. Like, you can't animate without it. To be honest, the first animation, the first number 1 animation, was all drawn with the mouse. The first Stickman Can Fight, also the first pretty much anything before episode 2 was all made with a mouse. If you go back and check all the other animations that I've made, they're all made with the mouse and using the shape tools, which is the oval, the rectangle, the line tool, that kind of thing. So if you don't have a mouse, you can definitely use the line tools and the oval tool. So I'll show you. You can do a perfect circle. Remember, shift, you do that. I use the line tool because that's what I used, and I just like that. Just like using the line tool. So I'm gonna go this and then press the letter N, so we can have the line tool properties in this tab, and we're gonna make this right here is how thick your line is. So if I do that, it's gonna be pretty thick. Why is that thing? Because for some reason this is selected. That just makes that everything you do is its own entity. And me myself, for this, for the purposes of my animation style, I don't need that. So that, press the anchor, and it's anchored to that point like that. And I click this over here, and there we go. You have a stick figure. Oh, what happened there? What is this? What is this? That is one of the downsides to working with lines and all the other stuff. It's just stuff you're gonna learn and you can experience, and it's that things don't like to play around with each other all the time. See how it's like doing this weird thing? Now it's gone, but now we have a weird head thing. That's why layers are important. So this layer, we're gonna name it Dude, and we're gonna make a new layer, and we're gonna call this one Head. Yeah, and we're gonna delete this because I don't want it. So here we just have the body of the dude. Yeah, and then we're gonna go select head. We're gonna make with the oval tool O. Gonna deselect the stroke because I don't want the stroke. I just want the head, and put it there. And now we put it together. You see, not the weird thing that happened before with the skewing or the distortion of the circle. So now you have your stick figure in all of its stick figure glory, and it's up to you how you like it. I know a couple of people like it with like extremely long legs. That some people like them with small little bodies but like huge heads. It's up to you how you like your stick figures to look like. I myself personally like him with the heads quite smaller, so I'm gonna do the free transform tool and make it smaller like that. That's usually kind of sort of the size. No, that's actually too big. Now that we have the basics done, now that we have the basis, which is your document, you know about layers, you use the line tool, you have or you don't have a tablet, we're gonna get to do some animating. Now the first things first is tweening versus frame by frame. What's the difference? I'll show you what's the difference. Tweening is this thing, we discussed it in the last episode. Tweening is when you make a new keyframe and you tell Flash, you know what, I want to start here and I want to go here. And if you do right click and you do classic tween, it's gonna do, Flash is gonna move it by itself. And how do you make it move? On enter, you press enter to make the animation play. So that's the cool thing about Flash, it just does that. Now, the limitations of tweening is, if I were to do, I want to have this guy walk from here to where the head is. Well, if I do that, guess what's gonna happen? Right click, it's just moving. I mean, cool motion, but I want it to walk. So, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna remove the tween, and right here down the middle, because it's halfway point, I'm gonna move it here. And what? I can't move nothing. Why? Flash, when you make a tween, it automatically thinks, okay, you want to make a symbol. Symbols, now it's a whole another ball game. Symbols are like movies within the animation. And how does that work? See, you have this, and it's all just the body. If I select it, if you see that, the little blue rectangle that is going around it, that means that this is now a symbol. If you look over to the right, the properties, it says that it's a graphic symbol. And we're going to go into detail into what kind of difference between symbols are. But graphic, pretty much what it is a movie within the animation that is going to do its own thing. So if I double click it, it's going to open. If you see here, it's called Tween 3 because it just did it by itself. Flash decided to do that. And here I'm gonna, just for the sake of illustration, I'm gonna move it around. And the way that I'm making the joints pop up is by pressing Control. When I click in the middle, you make joints like that. So that's all I'm doing. I'm gonna make like that. If I go back here, this whole clip, it's now that symbol, and you're gonna see it's doing it's so stupid. It's gonna do what I did. So the thing doesn't matter where I move it, I can now do the tween. I mean the tween. Clear the keyframe, and I want to put it right over here where it was before. Control tween, and it's gonna do the same thing. It's gonna just move just like the head, but since this is a movie within this movie, it's gonna do everything while I'm moving it. So that. So that's a cool thing about tweening. However, like I said, the limitation is that you are dealing with a movie within a movie. It can get pretty confusing, can get pretty weird. So if you like to go to the easiest, safest route, we're gonna delete all of this because we don't need it. We're gonna go into N, make a new stick figure. The easiest, most traditional way is the frame by frame approach. Although it is a lot more time consuming, it is definitely the more fluid one that makes it look the best. I suggest you press the onion skin. Onion skin, if you remember, it is kind of like showing everything as tracing paper. So here we can move it around, and if you see that little faint shade, it's really not visible, but if I zoom in a little bit, that faint shade is where it used to be. Press F6 to make a new keyframe, and you see the transition, the movement going on, and definitely more of a fluid movement because you have free range to do whatever you want. This is literally you making everything as exactly as you planned it, as exactly if you would like to see it, because you're not bound to the program doing what it thinks you want. You're actually doing everything by yourself. So now we have this raise the roof, raise the roof, raise the roof kind of thing. So this is frame by frame, and the other one was tweening. Each one has their own pros and cons. You know, with frame by frame you can do anything you want. I can let's just animate for a little bit. I'm gonna speed up on this part so you can kind of see what I'm gonna do. So the speed up starts now. Oh damn, look at this animation. Look at this animation. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Otra vez. Otra vez. Gonna move this and then move that and then move over here and then sippity 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 sap to done. And we're back. This whole thing was that I just animated was all done with my mouse, just to show that you don't really need a tablet for this animation, including that amazing text that honestly is just as bad as my regular handwriting, so nothing too bad. And I will show you what we got so far. So now we have that. Yeah, whoa, yeah. It's nothing that is like ridiculously like crazy amazing, but you get the gist. You can do pretty cool things with just frame by frame and all that good stuff. The last thing that we're gonna do for this one, it's the actual motion, and I'm gonna hide this by doing this. And but what I mean by motion is we're gonna do an what's the word I'm looking for? Gonna do an exercise. Yes, this is an exercise, a little example for you guys to do. And this is what a ball. Every beginning animation and animator always starts off with the ball, because the ball, it's something simple, something easy that we can all relate to when it comes to physics. And that's the biggest thing with doing stick figure animations, or any animations to be honest. It is the actual motion of things. Things need to have some sort of actual weight or physics behind it. If you're dropping a ball, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna tween this. So it's going down, but it's not really looks like it's dropping. Why? Because that's not how things drop. It's kind of slow. So the way we're gonna make that faster is by actually moving it, because this keyframe is saying I want the ball now to be here. So the sooner it gets to the floor, the sooner it's gonna go down. Now it looks a little bit more like it's actually falling. However, this is a ball. Balls bounce. And I'm gonna make it go up. And then make it a new keyframe, and then make it go down again. Oops, right there. I'm gonna press in between, make a classic tween, press in between, make a classic tween. So now it looks like somewhat better. Now it looks more like it's actual, like an actual thing. Now, to make this is just a really rough example of how to make things more realistic. Think about how they actually look in real life. This is still pretty darn fake. And the way I myself would do it is, I'm gonna make a new layer, and this is how I would do it. I'm gonna grab a different color, and I like green. This is my favorite color, which is why I use it a lot, like a lot. So I'm gonna do exactly the same place, but one of them is gonna be tweened, the other one's gonna be frame by frame. And right now what I used was the free transform tool by pressing the letter Q, and it makes you make them go bigger or smaller, as we discussed before. So we know that for sure we want it to have all the way down, just like that. I want to from there to go up, and then back down. So this is how I would do it. So here, and then here what I'm actually gonna do is gonna do a little What's the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna like press it down, scrunch it, make it squeeze down, I guess. Like that. And now if we go back and play it, you see the one on the right, the bigger green one, actually has a little bit more of a realistic feel. Why? Because there is some pull and pull. Gravity doesn't just like pull you down, it gradually builds up. As you see in the onion skin, you see the difference between where it was before and where it is now. So here before and the before. Go to the next one. Before. It still gradually accelerates. And here, what I didn't do on this one, I did on this one, which is press it down. When something crashes on the floor, there is some sort of recoil down. It goes back up. Yep. Here, I would actually make this hang in the air a little bit longer. And then start it to go down. And there you go. So that's how I would do it. Now that we have, yes, a little bit more realistic. If you want it more of a cartoonish, more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Man, I can't talk. See, this is the downside of doing this a little bit more. Like, you have planned what you want to say, but it almost never happens the way you're planning it. You start speaking and nothing comes out correctly. So, whoop. Now it looks more like it's actually falling down. So you do this experiment, do this exercise, make it look as realistic as possible, even though it is a cartoon, even though you're drawing stick figures who can withstand explosions, who can withstand sword attacks, who can withstand bullets to the face. You still want to ground yourself on actual physics. Good physics, good motion is what makes animation so cool, because if you have something that looks realistic, it's gonna be much more amazing to watch. It's gonna be something that is gonna be really pop up. It's gonna make something that is quite impressive, even if it's just something like a stick figure, even if you're not that great at it. If you have good physics, good motion, it's gonna make it at least 10 times better. Thank you for watching this video. Next time we're actually gonna go into animating some stick figures, and by that I mean a small little fight combo and some effects that go along with it. Thank you so much for watching this. Hopefully this helped you a lot. Check out the other videos that I've done, and like always, I gotta say thanks. See ya. Adios.